Most powerful witch hunters now were coming from Twitter, the Ivy League, and the progressive left. J.K. Rowling used to be a villain to the right because she wrote books about witchcraft. Now she's a villain to the left because she has the crazy belief that there's more to being a woman than pronouns and lipstick.
Emma is rightly free to disagree with me and indeed to discuss her feelings about me in public. But I have the same right, and I've finally decided to exercise it. I mean, mic drop, Stuber Gear. She could not have said this more perfectly, better, more powerfully, or more in a more damaging way for Emma Watson. She deserved every bit of scorn.
After years of staying quiet while being attacked by the very people she made famous, J.K. Rowling has finally spoken out. And this time, she didn't hold back. The woman who created Harry Potter has just fired back at Emma Watson, calling her out for joining the woke crowd that tried to cancel her over her views on gender and women's rights. That we all know Rowling has a sharp tongue and even sharper wit, but no one expected this level of pure fire. What she said wasn't just clever, it was ruthless. So sit back, because this comeback isn't just revenge. It's a masterclass in truth with a touch of sarcasm that only Rowling could pull off.
I want to make a couple of points. I'm not owed eternal agreement from any actor who once played a character I created. Emma Watson and her co-stars have every right to embrace gender identity ideology. However, Emma and Dan in particular have both made it clear over the last few years that they think our former professional association gives them a particular right, nay, obligation, to critique me and my views in public. Years after they finished acting in Potter, they continue to assume the role of de facto spokespeople for the world I created. When you've known people since they were 10 years old, it's hard to shake a certain protectiveness. For the past few years, I've repeatedly declined invitations from journalists to comment on Emma specifically. Ironically, I told producers I didn't want her to be hounded as the result of anything I said.
Rowling started by calmly saying that yes, she's seen all the criticism, every smug comment, every jab that Emma Watson and other Harry Potter actors have thrown her way. But here's what most people don't know. She chose silence, not because she was afraid, but because she cared. Rowling explained that she's known these actors since they were children, barely 10 years old. She had a real, almost motherly affection for them. Out of that respect, she never fought back, even though she could have easily destroyed their arguments with a few words, but that kindness wasn't returned. Instead of standing by her, they sided with the mob. The same mob that attacks first, thinks later, and destroys everything in sight. Rowling's message is simple. Silence isn't weakness. It's patience. But even patience has limits.
Speaks of that clip that we just watched. The television presenter in the attached clip highlights Emma's all witches speech, and in truth, that was a turning point for me. But it had a postscript that hurt far more than the speech itself. This is the one in which Emma attacked JK in 2022. Emma asked someone to pass on a handwritten note from her to me, which contained the single sentence, "I'm so sorry for what you're going through. She has my phone number." This was back when the death, rape, and torture threats against me were at their peak, and I was constantly worried for my family's.
Eventually, Emma Watson tried to soften things. She sent a quiet apology through someone else, saying she regretted how harshly she treated Rowling, especially when the online mob turned ugly deep down. Maybe Emma knew that Rowling wasn't being hateful. She was just speaking hard truths that many are too scared to say. But instead of saying sorry publicly, Emma tried to make peace privately, hoping to fix her image without losing her reputation. Let's be honest, that's not courage. If you had the guts to attack someone publicly, then you should have the same courage to apologize publicly. Rowling didn't ruin Emma's career. She built it. Without Harry Potter, Emma Watson would have never become a global star. Turning against the person who gave you everything, just to look good to the woke crowd, isn't bravery. It's cowardice.
Poured more petrol on the flames, yet thought a one-line expression of concern from her would reassure me of her fundamental sympathy and kindness. Like other people who have never experienced adult life uncushioned by wealth and fame, Emma has so little experience of real life, she's ignorant of how ignorant she is.
And that right there explains what's wrong with Hollywood today. It's drowning in wokeness because it's filled with people who live far away from real life. These celebrities live in luxury. They never worry about rent, gas prices, or feeding their families. They talk about justice and equality, but they don't understand what ordinary people actually go through. Take Emma Watson, for example. She can fly anywhere she wants, buy whatever she desires, and never feel the stress of everyday bills. That's why it's so easy for her to promote every trendy woke cause. When your life is that comfortable, your mistakes don't cost you anything. But real people, especially women, are the ones who pay the price when bad policies get pushed into law.
Need a homeless shelter. She's never going to be placed on a mixed-sex public hospital ward. I'd be astounded if she's been in a high street changing room since childhood. Her public bathroom is single occupancy and comes with a security man standing guard outside the door. Has she had to strip off in a newly mixed changing room at a council-run swimming pool? Is she ever likely to need a state-run rape crisis center that refuses to guarantee an all-female service?
Then Rowling hit back with one of her most powerful points yet. She said people like Emma can never truly understand what it feels like for a woman to be forced to share a changing room or bathroom with a man who claims to be a woman. She painted the picture clearly. The discomfort, the fear, the feeling of losing safety and privacy in a space meant only for women. Rowling reminded everyone that not all men are harmless. Some have a history of preying on women. And when the law allows biological men into women's private spaces, it's women who get hurt. But here's the truth. Emma will never face that danger. Her fame and wealth protect her from the risks that ordinary women deal with every day. Rowling's point was simple. It's easy to support an ideology when you'll never have to face the consequences of it.
Who's identified into the women's prison. I wasn't a multimillionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. I therefore understand from my own life experience what the trashing of women's rights in which Emma has so enthusiastically participated means to women and girls without...
Rowling didn't stop there. She called out Emma's blind support for the trans movement, not because she hates anyone, but because she believes women's rights matter too. By demanding that biological males be allowed into women's bathrooms, locker rooms, and shelters, people like Emma are not helping equality. They're erasing boundaries that protect women. Rowling says safety and dignity aren't privileges. They are basic human rights, but the woke crowd is willing to throw those rights away just to sound inclusive. Rowling's message hits hard. It's easy to signal virtue when you live behind gates and private security. For women working in normal jobs, walking home at night, or changing at a public gym, these issues aren't political. They are personal. Emma might think she's fighting for justice, but in reality, she's ignoring the struggles of the very women she claims to defend.
Emma not decided in her most recent interview to declare that she loves and treasures me, a change of tack I suspect she's adopted because she's noticed full-throated condemnation of me is no longer quite as fashionable as it was. I might never have been this honest. Adults can't expect to cozy up to an activist movement that regularly calls for a friend's assassination, then assert their right to the former friend's love.
One thing Rowling made very clear. She has never tried to silence Emma Watson or anyone else. She completely supports freedom of opinion. Emma has every right to believe whatever she wants, but Rowling has that same right too, to speak her mind, to defend her beliefs, and to stand up for women without being labeled hateful or evil. That's the part the woke mob doesn't understand. They think free speech only applies to them. They can insult, shame, and cancel anyone. But the moment someone pushes back, it suddenly becomes hate speech. Rowling's view is simple. Freedom of expression is for everyone, not just for the loudest side. Until the mob learns that, every time they try to silence her, they just prove she's right.
Is rightly free to disagree with me and indeed to discuss her feelings about me in public. But I have the same right, and I've finally decided to exercise it. I mean, mic drop, Stuber gear. She could not have said this more perfectly, better, more powerfully, or more in a more damaging way for Emma Watson. She deserved every bit of scorn.
Even Bill Maher, known for his liberal views, backed Rowling on this one. He said it's crazy how the same people who once adored her now treat her like a villain, just because she refuses to repeat their slogans. Maher pointed out something important. Rowling used to be attacked by conservatives for being outspoken. Now, she's attacked by progressives for the same reason. But through it all, she hasn't changed. She stayed true to what she believes. Her real courage isn't in writing fantasy worlds. It's in standing her ground in the real one, against an angry mob that wants to destroy her reputation. Despite all the hate, threats, and attempts to cancel her, Rowling refuses to bend. Bill Maher sees that for what it is, bravery. He knows what it's like to face the mob himself, and that's why he respects her so deeply.
Now we're coming from Twitter, the Ivy League, and the progressive left. J.K. Rowling used to be a villain to the right because she wrote books about witchcraft. Now she's a villain to the left because she has the crazy belief that there's more to being a woman than pronouns and lipstick.
Even if Emma Watson didn't agree with Rowling's views, the least she could have done was stay quiet. Disagreement is fine. Betrayal is not. Let's not forget. Rowling is the reason Emma has a career, a platform, and millions of fans. Yet when Rowling was being attacked, Emma didn't just stay silent. She joined the mob. She wanted to show she was one of them, desperate to look virtuous to the woke crowd. In doing so, she made it clear that her public image mattered more than loyalty or gratitude. That's not standing for justice. That's selling out. This whole story proves one thing. J.K. Rowling is fearless. For years, she's faced hate, lies, and even death threats, and she still hasn't backed down. Meanwhile, her critics crumble the moment public opinion shifts. Rowling stands for truth and free speech. The belief that no one should be silenced for asking questions or defending women's rights, and that's why people like Bill Maher applaud her. Because real courage isn't about being popular. It's about standing alone when it matters most. So, as we wrap up today's video, remember this. You can disagree with Rowling, but you can't deny her strength. She's proof that conviction and honesty will always outlast the noise. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit the like button and subscribe for more stories like.
I wasn't a multimillionaire at 14. I lived in poverty while writing the book that made Emma famous. Oh my God. It's so effective. Yeah. It's so good. F this woman and her betrayal of J.K. Rowling when J.K. Rowling needed a friend, when she could have used just silence. If Emma Watson disagreed so mightily, and by the way, I don't believe she did. I believe she went along with the woke mob, just like all these actors do. There's no way she actually believes a man can become a woman. It's scientifically proven he cannot.